How's it going, guys? Stooge Network here, and today we got a battle featuring the marvelous Chien Pao and its destructive power with the Life Orb set. So before we get started though, if we can get this video to 10 likes, I'll post another video next week featuring one of the other ruinous members. The other ones we haven't used so far are Ting Lu and Wo Chien. If you haven't already, check out Chi Yu's video after you watch this one. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on all of our future content. Now, before we begin too, let me know down below in the comments, what's your favorite Chien Pao set? Do you like the Life Orb? Are you more of a Choice Banded user? Or are you something crazy with the Recover set? So, anyways, let's jump into the battle. So this was against someone I found online. And they're going to start with their Grimace, and I'm going to start with my go-kart, Mr. Yaris himself. He's ready to rev his engines, and we're ready to get this battle on the way. So, I'm gonna just assume here immediately that this is like a reflect light screen type of Grim, so I'm just gonna immediately spin out and just see what I can do, see what kind of damage I do. He can't switch out, he can't switch out with the parting shot, but I'm just like, let's see if he goes for the reflector light screen. So I go immediately for the spin out, and they go for the trick, probably assuming that I'm the offensive Yaris set, probably just wanting to shift gear and set up. So they give me the Flame Orb, which would have completely destroyed me if I was that set. But luckily, I am the defensive car. You guys don't know, defensive car is the new rage. Who cares about the Hot Rod, baby? So they're going to go into their Ting Lu. And honestly, right here, they could have just straight killed me. I forgot I had the speed drop at first. So I was like, oh, I can just parting shot out. I think I'm faster. And yeah, they could have actually just destroyed my car right here and now. But they don't. They go for Sand Tomb, which is pretty interesting because I guess to trap and then you can Ruination and kind of whittle stuff down. So honestly, it can 1v1 some pretty good stuff. You could even taunt with it. I like that a lot. But I'm going to parting shot and bring out the star of the show themselves, the Chien Pao. And like I said, this is Life Orb, so it makes it pretty deadly because you could switch up moves. You already get the defense drop, and watch how much the spinner does to a Ting Lu. Probably max defense. Yeah, it does some crazy good damage. But honestly, I kind of almost threw immediately here with the Chien Pao because I forgot these kind of run body press, and I was like, I think it's going to do way more than it actually kind of did. But I think I have like choice banded calculations in my head, which choice banded is something to be feared. But the Life Orb allowing you to switch your moves is a little bit nicer. So here, I'm taking a second because I'm actually thinking, I'm like, okay, if they're going to save their Ting Lu, something I was afraid of was, if you notice, they have an Armarouge in the back. And I'm afraid they were going to switch into that and get the speed boost with their weak armor. And I was like, that's pretty dangerous. So unfortunately, though, they go right into the Glamora. That's a good play too, honestly. Immediately getting up the Toxic Debris. So now I have to worry about the Toxic Spikes. But I'm okay because they're going to force me out, which was actually really interesting. They got the red card on here, and I've never seen that before, but red card Glamora is pretty sick because he immediately gets up the Toxic Spikes, and then I immediately get poisoned on something randomly. So that's pretty cool. You could even run that with like Venoshock and get the double poison damage. But so I'm going to lock myself into Dragon Pulse here. The only reason I chose that over Surf was because they do have the Dragonite in the back, so I didn't want it to kind of come in thinking it could set up for free. So I'm going to lock myself into that. Take some poison damage, and then they're gonna go back into their Gallade. So I know unless this is a Scarfed Gallade, my little Oni here actually outspeeds, and like I said, I'm Specs, so that's gonna do a huge amount. But they're gonna Sacred Sword me, one-shot me right back, and my Sushi is gonna go down to the ground. Nobody's eating good today after that. So I'm gonna go back into my burnt car. He's literally on fire. I gotta take him to the shop. He needs some repairs. So I'm gonna go into him. Sacred Sword, and look how much this does. This is a max defense car, so that is most likely choice banded Gallade with the sharpness. Definitely terrifying. But I'm going to parting shot, kind of lower its attacks a little bit. That will really help in the future. And so this kind of makes me look here, and I'm like, well, I'm kind of in trouble. If you look at my team, I have a huge fighting weakness. I really have a Gallade kind of weakness for this team. But so I decide, you know what, I'm pretty sure that's banded damage. Chien Pao can come in, I outspeed, and I can spin. So this is where I'm talking about where I was noticing that they had the Armarouge because I thought this play would come in handy, and it does. I almost crunched here. I should have crunched. It was probably the way smarter play. But so they're going to go right into that, onto my spinner, and look at this awesome play. So they're going to get their weak armor, get the speed boost, and yeah, I get to drop their defense once, and I take a little bit of damage, but so now I gotta kind of sack something because now they're sped up, and I thought they would pretty much just attack. You're not gonna kind of set up in front of this when I can switch to like a crunch. Now, if I had the Sucker Punch, that would obviously been the play of choice, but they're gonna Armor Cannon, so I choose Yars to be sacked, and they get another defense drop, which is going to end up helping me kind of take this thing out because my only priority user is the Ice Shard on the Chien Pao, and you'll see that comes in kind of dangerously clutch later on, but it's also kind of a hindrance. You'll see what I'm talking about. So I'm looking here, and I'm like, they have a double speed boost, and I got to figure out who can take a hit. So I go into Ether, because I'm like, even if they have Aura Sphere or Focus Blast, I'm pretty sure I can take one. Hopefully Focus Blast if it's going to miss. But Aura Sphere I knew I could take. But they end up going for the Expanding Force, so I can easily tank that, hit him back with Assault Cure, and then that takes care of that monster right there. So now they're going to go back into their Dragonite. We haven't seen Dragonite yet, and honestly I have a pretty good matchup right here with Ether out in front. So I'm just going to decide to go for the Salt Cure because I want that residual on it. I know it's going to definitely be a Dragon Dance setup sweeper, so I am a little bit afraid of that, but I think the Salt Cure kind of will keep it in check. So I want that residual, like I said. Even if I get knocked out, I get to still do that a little bit of damage. So I'm going to hit him with the Cure, baby, and I'm going to go for the Iron Defense. And they have their one Dragon Dance up. Now, I wasn't sure if this was the normal Dragonite that normally has the extreme speed, but no, it's actually the steel one, which looks pretty cool, and it has Terra Blast, so that baby's gonna hit me with a giant shrapnel pile, rock my socks off, and my Ether is gonna go down. So that's unfortunate, but like I said, at least I have Assault Cure, and you know what's funny is they turned into the steel type, so now they take more damage from the Cure, so that was kind of unfortunate for them. So I'm going to go into my Great Tusk here, and Great Tusk is a beast. If y'all don't know already, it's been this many months into the game, y'all had to have figured it out by now, but Great Tusk absolutely just tanks anything Dragonite ever wants to do. Even if it had Ice Spinner, I'm not dying. So they're going to decide to Roost instead. I'm going to Stealth Rock because I know how well I take one. I've seen this baby just tank the best hits. So I'm going to go for the Stealth Rock, like I said, and then I know I can kind of just sit in here and body press. They're trying to boost up. I don't know what the second Roost was for, maybe to see what I have to hit them back, but or just to, yeah, get some Rocky Helmet damage and kind of whittle me down that way, kind of stall me out until they can actually get a strong enough hit that'll finish me. So I'm going to body press, and then this time I'm going to knock off because I want to get rid of that helmet. We do not need to be taking that residual because they will eventually 1v1 me with the Roost. So I knock them off, and they don't decide to Roost that time. Like I said, my body press is just too strong. Press that body, and Great Tusk is going to be able to finish them with the amount of knockoff, body press, and Salt Cure damage. So that takes care of their Terra. It finally goes down, and honestly, that was the biggest threat, though. Had I not been packing the Great Tusk in my team, that probably would have swept me. So they're going to go back into their Banded Glade. I'm pretty sure it's banded. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe I can set up on it if it's not going to one-shot me. I thought maybe I could tank from this half amount of health, but it just shows you how strong it is. Definitely has to be banded, I would say. Sacred Sword, even with the sharpness, just does clean half right to me. Sliced right in half, baby. So I'm going to go into my Chien Pao, though. Like I saw before, I know it made them switch, and I even have the Ice Shard just in case. And look at this, Life Orb Ice Shard just easily doing like 35%, 40% to that Glade. So yeah, this is exactly why, because you have that priority. You don't want to lock yourself in if you have the priority moves. That's why I think it's a little bit better than the Banded set. And then Chien Pao is just going to clean up. I'm going to go for the nice little spin. Whee! He earned that spin, and going to get to knock out the Tinglu. So that's going to be the game. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out, and remember as always to stay stoogey. See you guys.